the song that shouldn't exist. The space station was always noisy ships docking, vendors shouting, and strange alien creatures talking in clicks and hums. But on this day, everything stopped because of one sound, a sound not heard in this part of the galaxy for decades. It started with a quiet whistle, then the slow, trembling notes of an old Earth harmonica. The man playing it sat cross-legged near the edge of the marketplace. He was human, tired-looking, with rough hands and sad eyes. His name was Leo. No one paid attention at first. Humans were rare, but not completely unknown. Most people just walked past. But one alien girl stopped. She was tall and slender, with violet-blue skin, silver-white hair braided tight, and glowing rings around her eyes that pulsed with emotion. Her name was Alira, and she belonged to a race known for stillness and control. Now she was shaking, not from fear, from something deeper. Her head tilted slightly, as if trying to understand the melody. Then her hands twitched, her fingers moved, her legs bent. She took one step forward, then another. Her eyes locked onto Leo. And then she danced, not like her people who performed only during sacred rites. This was wild, strange, beautiful-like. She was no longer controlling her own body. She spun, arms rising, feet tapping against the metal floor in rhythm with the harmonica's haunting song. Gasps filled the air. A small crowd gathered. Someone shouted in fear, "She's glitching." "No. She's possessed. Stop the human. He's doing something." Guards rushed in, weapons raised. Leo stopped playing, and Alira collapsed. Her body crumpled to the floor like a puppet with strings cut. She didn't speak, didn't move. Everyone stared. The guards grabbed Leo roughly, pulling him up by the arms. "What did you do to her?" One snarled, pushing a weapon into his ribs. "I just played music," Leo said softly, eyes wide with confusion. "She's not breathing right," a medic shouted, scanning Alira. But just then, her hand twitched. Then her eyes opened. She stared up at Leo from the floor and whispered a single word. "Again." They dragged Leo away in cuffs. Alira was taken to the med bay, surrounded by her people's healers. They ran tests, scanned her brain, took blood samples. Nothing made sense. "No toxin," one muttered, looking confused. "No neural attack," said another, but her energy levels were spiking. Every time someone mentioned the song, her heartbeat jumped. She sat up slowly, her body still trembling. "Where is the human?" she asked. Her voice was calm, but her eyes were glowing brighter than normal. "He's being interrogated," the lead healer replied. "You were not yourself. We need to understand what happened to you." "I was myself," she whispered. For the first time, they stared at her. "What do you mean?" the healer asked carefully. Alira looked at her own hands. "I moved. I felt free," she said. There was no control, just truth. That sound had unlocked something old. She remembered something strange, a dream, or a memory, her ancestors, long ago, dancing in circles of firelight to strange Earth-like music. But how? Her people had never heard of humans back then, had they? Meanwhile, Leo sat in a dark room, hands still cuffed, facing two alien officers. They asked the same questions again and again. "Is it a weapon? Where did you get it? Is it encoded to control minds?" "It's just a harmonica," Leo said, exhausted. "It's music. From Earth. That's all." But even he wasn't sure anymore. Why had she reacted like that? Back home, people barely noticed harmonica music. Here, it looked like it reached inside someone's soul. The officers left the room. Quiet alarm beeped. Then the door opened, and Alira walked in, still trembling, still glowing, still moving slightly, rhythmically, like the song never stopped inside her. She looked at Leo, Please, she said. Play it again. He stared at her. You want to dance again? I have to, she said. There's something inside me. I think it's waking up. And then she added something that made Leo sit up straight. I think the song is speaking. In a language I was never taught. Asterisk chained by rhythmalira wasin. T supposed to be walking, not this soon. Not after what happened in the market. The medics had ordered full rest, no movement, no contact with outsiders. But there she stood in the hallway outside the detainment room, barefoot, silent, still glowing faintly. One guard tried to stop her, but the moment she looked at him, his hand dropped away from his weapon. He stepped aside without understanding why. There was something in her presence now, something that vibrated in the air around her. A pressure. A hum. Inside the holding room, Leo leaned back in the chair, hands still cuffed. He was tired, hungry. Confused when the door hissed open and Alira stepped inside, he blinked. Is this a dream? Softly. No, she replied, her voice like water flowing over smooth stones. But maybe it feels like one. The guards outside didn't. Follow her in. Maybe they couldn't. Maybe they didn't want to. I need to hear the song again, she said. Leo frowned. You passed out last time. They think I attacked you. They're wrong, she said quickly. The sound? It reached something. In me that's been quiet my whole life. Leo's eyes studied her. She looked different now. Not just the glow, there was a tension in her body, like every muscle was ready to move. Even her breathing followed a slow beat. Like she was counting invisible rhythms. They're saying I used psychic tech, Leo muttered. That I infected you. She shook her head. It wasn't infection. It was unlocking. Back. In the observation deck above, several alien officers watched them through a glass wall. Commander Vron's brow furrowed. This is beyond dangerous, he said. The girl is showing signs of resonance corruption. We must isolate the human. Permanently. Another officer whispered, but what if it's not corruption? What if it's a memory? Vran turned sharply. Of what? The officer swallowed hard. Of the old frequency myths, the ones from before the council wiped the records. Songs that connected species. Long ago, Vran snapped. Those were fairy tales. But no one in the room spoke again, because Alira had just started to move dash again. In the detainment room, Leo finally lifted the harmonica to his lips. Just one slow breath. One soft note. Alira gasped. Her feet slid back across the floor. Her arms floated upward, fingers outstretched. Her entire body began moving, not like before, not jerky or wild. This time, it was almost controlled. It was a dance. Her eyes stayed closed, but her mouth moved in silence. Like she was mouthing lyrics from a forgotten language. Leo stopped playing. Alira stood still again, breathing heavily. Her eyes opened, shimmering. I felt something, she whispered. A door inside me. It opened for a second, then vanished again. Leo lowered the harmonica. What's behind the door? I don't know yet, she said, but the rhythm, it's not just making me dance, it's giving me memories. I never lived. Later that night, Alira sat in a private medical chamber, heart still racing. Electrodes tracked her every heartbeat. Her people weren't letting her leave again. But no one could explain her brain readings. Every time she heard Leo's music, even a recording parts of her mind lit up that had never been active before. Ancient memory centers. Genetic echo. Zones. One scientist whispered, this girl is not just reacting to sound. Her DNA is responding like it remembers something. But how could she remember a human tune? Her people didn't even meet Earthlings until 100 years ago. I don't know, the scientist said. But what if humans didn't bring the music here? What if they brought it back? That night, Alira had a dream. She stood on a world with no name. The stars above were strange. Red suns, 2 moons. Alien trees glowing with soft pulses. Around her danced hundreds of her own kind, whirling in perfect time with an ancient song played by beings she didn't recognize. Humans, but their eyes glowed like hers, and their instruments. They weren't just tools, they were keys. Shaping reality, controlling light, making the planet itself sing. She woke with tears in her eyes and music ringing in her bones across the station. Leo was released quietly, not because they trusted him, but because they were scared of what might happen. If they tried to stop him again, he didn't return to the marketplace. He stayed low, sleeping in vents, walking the shadowed levels of the trade ring. He had one goal now: find out why his music broke an alien. Girl's mind open and what else it might break. Meanwhile, in her chamber, Alira pressed her hand too. The wall, it was vibrating softly in rhythm. The same rhythm as the harmonica's last note. And then she whispered to the air, "I think the music is speaking to all of us. We just forgot how to listen." Forbidden frequencies, Leo sat alone on the lower decks of the station, far from the crowds. His harmonica rested in his palm, but he didn't play. Not yet. He was scared of it now. Not because it harmed anyone, but because it had awakened something. No one understood. Something that could get him, and maybe Alira. Silenced forever. Footsteps echoed behind him. He turned. Alira stood at the end of the corridor, wearing a long gray cloak to hide her glowing eyes. Her movements were twitchy-like. Her muscles were hearing music only she could feel. "You followed me?" Leo asked. "I had to," she said, voice low. "They'll lock me away soon. They think I'm contaminated." Leo gave a bitter smile. "Welcome to my world." She came closer. Her hands trembled. "Leo, something's happening to me. Every hour, even in silence, my body keeps moving. Small gestures, patterns, like I'm dancing in my sleep." He raised a brow. "Is it painful?" "No." She said, It's teaching me." He frowned. "Teaching you what?" "I don't know yet. But it's old. It feels older than my people. Older than your world, maybe." Leo hesitated, then pulled a small, dusty datapad from his pack. "What's that?" she asked. "A rumor I chased years ago. Before I ever met you," he said. "I read about something called the Resonant Protocol. Music used to pass coded messages between species before the Galactic Order banned it." Her eyes lit up. "They banned music." Leo nodded. "Not all of it. Just certain scales. Frequencies. Melodies that did more than entertain. They connected minds." Alira's hand clutched her chest. "I think my body remembers those melodies." They found an old workshop hidden beneath the station's forgotten maintenance wing. Dust covered everything. But in the corner sat a strange machine, tall, round, with metal pipes shaped like chimes. Alira walked to it slowly. Her fingers hovered near one pipe. This sings without breath." Leo raised his harmonica. "Let's find out if it still knows the song." He played just 3 notes. Suddenly, the machine glowed. The pipes began to hum, then shimmer. And Alira began to move again. But this time, her arms moved in specific patterns. Her foot tapped cymbals in the dust. Her entire body flowed like it was writing invisible words into the air. Leo watched in awe. "She's not just dancing," he whispered. "She's translating." Up above on the command deck, alarms blared. Unauthorized resonance detected on sublevel 49. An officer shouted. Commander Vraughn's eyes narrowed. "Shut it down." "But sir, now, before she unlocks something we can't contain." Back in the workshop, Alira collapsed to her knees. The hum of the machine faded. I saw it, were wet with tears. I saw it, she whispered. Oh. City in the sky, a place of light and sound. It was shaped like a musical note. Leo helped her up. You're remembering someone else's life. Or my own, from a time I've forgotten, she replied. What if our people once knew music like this? What if the order erased it all? Leo clenched his jaw. If they erased music, what else did they erase? Just then, they heard boots stomping above. Lights flickered red. They're coming, Alira said. He grabbed her hand. Then, we go deeper. They ran into a maintenance shaft that led even lower into the station. Old corridors unused for years. Rusted. Lights dim. But one hallway was different. Clean, new, at the end stood a door sealed and pulsing gently. With light, Alira stepped toward it. It's vibrating. Leo pressed his ear against the door. It's humming. Same rhythm as the song. No keypad, no handle. Just a small panel covered in symbols from a language. Neither of them recognized. Alira took a deep breath, then sang. Just one note, pure, clear. Soft, the door clicked open, inside. The room was circular, filled with alien instruments. Strange. Devices all silent. In the center was a glowing platform. Leo stepped forward, stunned. This is a music chamber. Alira turned slowly, looking at the symbols on the wall. No, this is a library. She placed her hand on a small harp-like object. It lit up. A projection appeared in the Aaron ancient alien, part of Alira's species, but older looking. His voice echoed through the room. If you're hearing this, you carry the frequency. You are one of the remembered. This place was hidden during the silence. Do not let the music die again. Leo looked at Alira. What does this mean? Alira's voice was barely a whisper. It means we're not the first. Asterisk, the dance. Of the lost, the music chamber was silent now. But something had changed. Alira stood on the glowing platform, her body gently swaying her feet, moving slowly, not as if she were dancing, but as if the floor itself told her where to go. Leo watched. Her, afraid to speak. Every movement she made sent tiny sparks into the air. Symbols on the walls lit up, one by one, like they were remembering her. This place, she said softly, it's responding to me. She took another step, and suddenly the walls began to move. Metal panels slid aside with a smooth hum, revealing ancient murals set in gold and black. They showed scenes of her people, dancing beside humans. Real humans, not war, not slavery, but unity, her kind and Leo's. Sharing music, sharing language. Leo, she whispered, turning. To him, her eyes full of light. Our species weren't enemies back then. Leo stepped closer. This is before the war. Alira nodded. Long before. She reached out. Touching a circular engraving, a musical symbol Leo didn't recognize. The floor trembled, and in the center of the room, a hologram began to form. A dome of light appeared around them. Inside it, a full scene, not a video, a memory. A field of tall, crystal grass under twin moons. Hundreds of beings stood in a massive circle, humans, aliens, other species, now long extinct. They held instruments. Some familiar, others strange and glowing. A sound began, low at first. Then richer. Deeper. The harmony spread across the field, like a warm wind, and the beings began to move in unison. Alira covered her mouth. They danced, just like I did. Leo's voice shook. This isn't just art. This is a message. He looked around. They were trying to tell the future what they had, what they lost. And then the sound cut off. Darkness returned, and the memory vanished. A loud metal bang echoed from above. Leo's head snapped up. They found us. Lyra turned toward a side tunnel that lit up on its own. That way, she said. I think the chamber is helping. They ran down into another long hallway. But this one was different. On each side were long tubes like ancient stasis pods. Many were broken, but a few were glowing. Leo peeked into one. Inside was a body, an alien like a Lyra, but older, sleeping, or dead. He backed away slowly. What? Is this place? Lyra stared down the hallway. I think it was a sanctuary, a hiding place. For those who remembered the song. She walked up to one pod. Suddenly, her feet began to move again. A slow step, then a turn. Then a hand raised in a spiral motion. The pod hissed open. Inside, the alien's eyes fluttered alive. The alien slowly opened its eyes. They glowed a soft blue. Its body was thin, ancient, skin like fine silver cloth. Its gaze found a Lyra, and it smiled. You carry it, the being said in a soft voice. The last melody, it lives in you. Lyra was speechless. Why me? She finally asked. Because your ancestors chose silence, the being replied. But one line, one bloodline, kept the rhythm inside. And now, the time has returned. Leo stepped forward. What does the song really do? The old alien looked at him. It's not just music, it's code, harmony that can shape energy, calm minds, heal, even stop war. But it can also destroy if twisted. Lyra asked, and the galactic order. They feared it, the old one whispered. They buried it. A pause. But they cannot bury you. Back in the command deck, Commander Vron watched the scans with rising fear. They've entered Chamber Delta, a technician said. We've never had access to that zone. Not even the architects knew its full design. Vran clenched his fists. If the girl fully awakens the protocol, it won't be just this station that feels it. The entire system could resonate. Shall we deploy pulse squads? Vron stared at the screen, then nodded. Do it. Silence them before the music spreads. Down in the sanctuary, Lyra stood still, the Ancient One holding her hand. You must choose, he said. Stay hidden or rise, and let the song echo again. But it will bring danger. The order will come. Leo touched her shoulder. Whatever you choose, he said quietly, I'm with you. Lyra looked between them. Her hand lifted slowly. She closed her eyes and began to sing. 1 note. Then 2. The air vibred. The walls glowed, and across the station, people began to hear it. Even those with no ears. Even those who had forgotten what feeling meant. The beat they tried to erase the song traveled through the station like a silent pulse. No alarms, no broadcasts, just a single tone that pressed gently against the ears of every being, whether they had ears or not. Some stopped walking and stared. Others dropped tools or froze mid-sentence. One old vendor whispered, that sound. I've heard it before. Long ago, before the bans. On level 3, a young alien child began to sway, not knowing why. On level 7, a robot paused, mid-cleaning, its sensors blinking in rhythm with the tone. And in the central control tower, Commander Vron felt his heart skip. What is this? He snapped a technician's hands, shook over the control panel. It's not radio, not sonic. It's vibrating through the structure itself, through the metal. Vran slammed his hand on the console. Shut it down. Now, but the technician stammered. Sir, we can't find the source. Deep below, in the hidden sanctuary, Lyra still stood on the glowing floor. The old alien watched with a peaceful expression. You've begun the call, he said softly. Now they'll come. Leo stood beside her, gripping his harmonica tight. What does this mean? What's going to happen? The Old One turned to him. The frequency touches memory and fear. There are those who forgot the beauty of the song, and those who helped erase it. They will do anything to silence it again. Leo looked at Alira. Are you okay? She opened her eyes, glowing now with soft, golden light. I can't stop it anymore, she said, even if I wanted to. A secret chamber opened behind the platform, revealing a long, spiral staircase made of crystal steps. Alira walked toward it. Leo followed, though his hands were trembling as they descended. The humming in the air became stronger, clearer. Then they reached the bottom. Another door. Alira stepped forward, her body swaying slightly to a rhythm only she heard. She placed her hand on the panel. The door opened, and behind it was something neither of them expected. A massive, hollow space. Floating instruments of impossible designs, some made of glowing stone, others of energy shaped like ribbons. In the center, a circular platform surrounded by a suspended ring of rotating orbs. Alira gasped. Leo whispered, "It's a machine." The old alien nodded. The last sound forge. A device built not by one species, but by many. It responds only to those who carry the resonance. Alira slowly stepped onto the platform, and the orbs began to spin faster. A lyris of light flashed from the machine, bright but silent. The music grew louder in her mind. Now it had layers, melodies, voices. She dropped to her knees, overwhelmed. Leo rushed forward, catching her before she fell. Alira, say something. She gripped his arm. I can see it now, she whispered. It's not just music, it's instructions, a code for healing, for binding, or for breaking. It's all inside the rhythm. Above them, soldiers in black armor marched down toward the hidden levels. Their boots echoed like thunder. The lead soldier touched his comm. Target is located. Prepare dampening fields, all weapons charged. Commander Vraan's voice came. Through cold and sharp, no mistakes. Silence the girl. If the human resists, remove him. Back inside the sound forge, Alira stood again. She looked different now, like the music had changed her skin, her voice, her soul. Leo, she said, this machine was meant for all of us, your kind, mine, even those long gone. But the order destroyed every connection. Leo stared at her. Then we take it back. Suddenly, red lights flashed, warning, intrusion. They were coming. The old alien looked toward a side panel. There is one last key, he said, but it must be played. By you, human. Leo blinked. Me. You carry the tone of Earth. It's the one note the others can't fake. A signature from a world that made music into memory. Leo raised his harmonica. His fingers trembled. Then he played soft, steady, from his heart. 3 notes, then 4. Then the machine sang back. Lights filled the chamber. The floating orbs spun faster, lining like a star map. A massive pulse of harmony burst from the chamber and passed through the entire station in the command deck. All screens went black. Weapons froze. Drones collapsed. And every soldier's body began to shake, not from pain, but from emotion. Tears rolled down one soldier's face. Another dropped his weapon. Commander Vraan fell back in his chair, clutching his head. Make it stop, he whispered. Why does it hurt? But it didn't hurt. It only reminded. Back inside the forge, Alira reached out to Leo. Her body glowed, fully noggled, and violet waves flowing over her skin like music made solid. You gave the signal, she said. He stepped forward. Now what happens? She looked up, eyes full of something between fear and peace. Now the galaxy remembers what it tried to forget. The melody of memory. The station no longer felt like a station. It felt alive, as the sound forge's pulse echoed outward. The metal halls vibrated with warm thought heat, not force, but feeling. Like the structure itself remembered what it once was, a place of harmony, not control, in the central control deck. Weapons lay untouched. Guards stood frozen. One soldier dropped to his knees, gasping. "I saw my mother," he whispered. "She died years ago, but in the sound, I saw her face again." Commander Vran trembled behind his desk. He clutched his chest like something inside him was breaking something he'd buried. Long ago, he slammed his fist down. This isn't peace, it's infection. But no one moved, no one obeyed. They were listening, far below, in the glowing heart of the sound forge. Leo sat beside Alira, both of them still catching their breath. The chamber no longer hum. It sang, soft, endless, like a lullaby stretching through time. Alira's body pulsed with light, her violet skin now blended with shimmering gold veins. Her hair floated gently, lifted by invisible currents of sound. Leo watched her with quiet awe. "Are you still you?" he asked softly. She turned to him. "I think I'm more me than I've ever been," she whispered. This wasn't just buried knowledge, it was buried identity. She stood, her movements smooth, almost weightless. "The rhythm, I kept feeling it, wasn't just random motion," she said. "It was a language, an ancient form of communication. Every dance step, every breath, it tells a story." Leo looked up at the floating orbs, still circling above them. "What kind of story?" "A warning," she said. "A promise, a memory." The old alien, sitting by the wall, spoke at last. "The sound forge was never a weapon," he said. "It was a bridge, built by the first alliance of species. Music became our shared language, so perfect. It could calm war beasts, stop invasions, even rewrite broken minds." He looked at Alira. "Your bloodline was chosen to carry the final frequency, to survive the silence. But why hide it?" Leo asked. "Why erase something so powerful?" The old one's eyes dimmed, because not all saw it as peace. Some feared it, feared that true unity would break their control. And so, the council banned the resonant frequencies. They destroyed the archives, silenced the singers. He looked away, voice heavy with sorrow, and made people like Alira forget who they were born to be. Suddenly, a new sound broke through the chamber. Clap, 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 clap. Slow. Cold applause echoed from the corridor behind them. Leo and Alira turned sharply. Commander Vran stepped into view, flanked by two guards. But these guards did not raise weapons. They simply watched, silent, confused. Vran's face was tight, pale with rage. "So this is what it was all for," he said. "Dancing, dreaming. You've turned the galaxy's greatest threat into a lullaby." Leo stood. "You call unity a threat. I call uncontrollable emotion dangerous," Vran snapped. "The galaxy needs structure, rules, control, not ghosts from forgotten songs." Alira stepped forward. "You're afraid?" Vran's lip curled. "Of you?" "No," she said gently. "Of remembering." Vran's hand moved toward a hidden pulse pistol, but before he could draw it, one of his guards stepped forward. "No more," the soldier said. "I saw my brother. He died in the war. I heard his voice in the sound. I felt again." The other guard removed his helmet and placed it on the floor. "We were made to forget," she reminded us. Vran backed away. "No. No, you're all infected." Leo stepped in front of Alira. "Go ahead," he said calmly. "Pull that trigger," but the song already spread. "You can't stop it now." Vran's hand trembled, then dropped. He turned, silent, and walked away, alone, in the hours that followed. The sound forge reactivated fully. From the chamber's heart, a beacon rose made of sound, not light. Across the station, across nearby ships, and even into the upper reaches of space. It reached ancient frequencies, lost songs, memories that didn't belong to one species. But all, and for the first time in centuries, peace didn't come from law or force. It came from music. Later that night, Alira sat beside Leo, legs crossed on the platform. "Do you think they'll come for us again?" she asked. Leo shrugged. "Probably, but we're not alone now," she said. The rhythm woke up more than just me. He looked over at her, smiling. "Yeah. I saw a kid tap his feet today. No one taught him, he just felt it." She reached for his hand. "I think we opened the first door. But there's more. Other sound forges, other melodies." He chuckled. "So we're starting a band now." She laughed. "Mod musical." "No, we're starting a revolution." The human note that changed the galaxy. Stars looked different now. Ships that once floated cold and silent near the station now shimmered with warmth. Some had turned their signal lights to pulse in rhythm, as if replying to the sound forges. Silent song in the following days. The station had changed. Vendors played soft tunes between sales guards walked with lighter steps. Children of all species laughed, spun, and danced in corners of the marketplace, and everywhere. The music continued. Not loud, but always present. A hum under the surface. A feeling in the walls. A rhythm in the heart. Alira stood at the station's main balcony, her cloak flapping gently in the artificial wind. She wasn't hiding anymore. Her skin still shimmered gold and violet, her hair now fully white with flowing energy, like a river of stars. When people passed, they didn't bow. They didn't kneel. They nodded because they remembered something now. Something older than fear. Something inside themselves they didn't even know they had lost. Leo walked up beside her, a small case slung over his shoulder. "You ready?" he asked. She looked out at the stars. "I think. I've always been ready. I just didn't know what for." He opened the case, inside his harmonica, and beside it his new instrument, small, metallic, shaped like a crescent moon. A gift from the sound forge. He handed it to her. She took it gently. "I still don't know what this does," she said. Leo smiled. "Then play it. Let's find out." They made their way to the center of the main plaza, where a crowd had already gathered. No announcements. No invitation. They just knew. The old alien from the sound forge stood nearby, watching silently. A few of the former guards, once soldiers of the order, stood unarmed, now still, calm, expectant. Even the children had fallen quiet. Alira stepped forward. She closed her eyes and pressed the instrument to her lips, one clear note. It wasn't a sound like Leo's harmonica. It was light. The moment she played it, colors formed in the airwaves, shapes, rings of floating memory. They shimmered across the plaza, dancing with her breath. And as she moved, her body became part of the song. One step stars appeared. One spin the walls of the station lit up in patterns. Then Leo played his harmonica beside ours. Soft, earthy, familiar too. Worlds-blended. Two songs-merged. Two hearts, one rhythm. From orbit. A long silent probe from the outer colonies picked up the signal. It broadcast the frequency back toward the galaxy, and others heard it, on the mining moons of Thestra. Workers felt joy for the first time in years, on the warship fleets of the border. Systems, captains paused their weapons drills. In distant academies once trained to silence. Old forbidden recordings began to unseal. Music returned. Not entertainment, not noise, but truth. After the performance, Leo and Alira sat together on the edge of the plaza, looking up at the artificial sky. "Think we did it?" Leo asked. Alira rested her head on his shoulder. I think we did something. Maybe just enough. He turned to her, voice soft. You really can't stop moving, can you? She smiled. My body still dances when I sleep, she said. But now, I think I understand why. She placed his hand over her chest, because this rhythm was never a curse. It was my connection. To something bigger. To everyone. The old alien walked up behind them. You've awakened the first sound forge, he said. And others are waking too. Leo raised a brow. Others, the old one nodded. There were 7. Alira looked up, surprised. Where are they? Scattered. The old alien said, across worlds. Hidden in stone, in sea, in sand. But now, with the song alive again, they'll start to call to you. Leo stood, slinging his case over his shoulder. So we travel. The old alien smiled. You lead. A few days later, the station held a final ceremony. Not a speech, not a law, just a song, played by many hands. Voices joined human, alien, young, old, and at the center. Alira stood barefoot on the platform. No more hiding, no more silence. She danced not because the rhythm forced her, but because now she was the rhythm, and beside her, Leo played the human tune that started it all. A song that didn't conquer, didn't command. It simply reached out and reminded the galaxy that hearts still beat and feet still move. And people, no matter the species, still remember how to feel.